And welcome back to Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. I am Sam Fetterman. Jonathan Liskin is not with me right now, but you know who is? It's Lafayette head coach Mike McGarvey. The Leopards are 7-0 in Patriot League play. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing great, Sam. Thanks for having me on.
So last time we spoke, you guys had just beaten Army. It was your first win against a Division I opponent all season, and it was the conference opener. Since then, you guys have maybe not ran through the league, but ended up with a W in each of your league games. Did you think you'd be anywhere near 7-0 at this point?
I think it's hard to imagine being 7-0 in this conference, right? I did feel pretty good about where our team was going and the direction that we were heading in. You know, playing a tough non-conference schedule and then having the opportunity to play Patriot League and get the first win. It gave us a lot of confidence to build on. So I wasn't. I was pretty optimistic about having a good Patriot League run. I think I'd be lying to you if I said I thought we would be 7-0. I'm not sure any coach in our conference believes that they could run the table. But it's been a fun few weeks, and our team's been playing well, and we're hoping to keep that rolling.
Yeah, the one of the bigger games on one of the more notable games so far on your schedule against Bucknell, you guys were down 16 in the second half. How did you guys come back and win that game in overtime? What happened there?
Yeah, if you look at the games that we've played, on both sides of it, we've either had some leads or we've been down a few possessions. And again, on both sides in our games, we've seen the swings go either way. So I think our guys, settled into the game pretty nicely. Bucknell did a great job with their matchup zone in the first half, and we weren't able to really generate a lot of points. And I think our group felt pretty confident at halftime that if we could go out and play a little bit better, we can climb back in it. And it's a testament to some senior leadership, having Kyle Jenkins on the floor that's been through a lot of Patriot League games. And, Ryan Pettit stepped up really nicely in that game as well. I think it's a credit to our players to not really have a give up attitude and continue to stay on course and climb back in it. And, for us to make the shot at the end of regulation to send it into overtime, I think it gave us a lot of confidence going into that overtime session that we can pull out the win in a game where we didn't think we were playing very well.
You spent a long time as an assistant at Colgate, and now obviously they're the gold standard program in this league. When you guys went up to Hamilton and beat Colgate, what was that like for you as kind of a reunion?
Yeah, I mean, I spent 7 years in Hamilton, New York, so a lot of family and friends would come and visit all the time, and it was kind of our second home away from the Philadelphia area. And having a chance to learn under Coach Langle and the things that he's done, I take a lot of great pride in the time that was spent there to build Colgate into what it is now, and to watch him take it and flourish has been really amazing from afar. So to go there is always a little bit special, and now being on the other side of the benches and being in the opposing team, there was it's never easy to play against friends and people that you really care about. But at the same time, we were looking at it as another game, and we tried to approach it that way. It was really fun to play well there and to have some success. And Colgate is a very hard place to win, especially in Patriot League play over the last 5 years. So we feel very fortunate to play well and get away with a win in that game.
You also spent your first head coaching job was in Division III in Williamsport. So you've been all over the Northeast. All over the interior Northeast, if we'll say. You haven't really been on the coasts, but like, what was that like? Just going from starting at D3 and having some success there, and then making the jump up to D1 last year as an assistant, and now as the head guy.
Yeah, it's been a fun journey. When I went to Lycoming in 2018, I was really excited for a new challenge and new opportunity to try to build a program up and be the head coach and the lead voice, and see if some of the concepts and things that I've learned along the way would translate to being the lead decision maker. And it was a lot of fun. Learned a ton in my experience there. I got a chance to work with some really great people and coach some great players, and we had a nice, successful run. Fortunate to play in 3 championship games in a row and win 2 of them. And then coming back into the Patriot League was exciting for me too. I'm a Philadelphia native. My family and friends are still in the Philadelphia area. I've got 3 young kids, all under the age of 7. I've got 2 brothers who have 3 young kids at the under the age of 7. So to be 45 minutes to an hour from grandparents and family and friends was really exciting for me to come back to Lafayette. But I think the time that I had at Lycoming has prepared me well for the opportunity to lead, and also to try to have some success, especially around conference play in the Patriot League, which has been really fun.
A big conversation that comes up whenever any job opens is about like the value of having a head coach who's been the man somewhere, regardless of the level. You were obviously a head coach at the Division 3 level. We've seen plenty of lower level head coaches succeed at the Division 1 level. Tobin Anderson was at Division 2 for a while. Tim Klus was as well. We've now seen what some excellent coaches from the Division 2 and 3 levels have been doing at the Division 1 level. How important do you think it is to have the experience of being a head guy somewhere, being the man with the clipboard in the huddle, drawing up the play, being the man that is the that has the final say in the room? Um,
Well, I can't speak for everybody, and there's terrific coaches in every level of basketball, all the way from middle school all the way through NBA, right? But for my personal experience, it gave me a lot of confidence to be able to know that I could do it, that I could lead a group through an entire season to start that way, and but then also to build out a program, right? So I think without the experience of being a head coach before, I don't know if I would be as well prepared for the ups and downs of a full season, managing staff and handling budgets and dealing with alumni and engaging a community. All of those things are really critical to how I approach the position. So for me, I look at that time as really valuable, and has helped put me in the place I am now.
Yeah, and we talked about how you guys are a pretty young team, and it's a very young league. A lot of turnover, a lot of new coaches
Mhm.
in the league, and this year you guys have kind of capitalized on maybe the unreadiness, perhaps, of rest of the league, or maybe not to say it that way, but you guys have been the most ready. How did you prepare your guys for their first rodeo through Patriot League play? Some of them.
Yeah, it's never easy, and we went through a couple months of a tough stretch, right? And it's when you're losing a lot, it's really hard to see the progress that a team is making. It just the feeling of the locker room and maybe some lack of confidence in some areas. So what we've tried to do, Sam, and our approach was just to have a perspective of saying, okay, we've played a really challenging schedule. Let's put that in our back pocket and understand that some of those games that didn't go our way, we were still very competitive in, and to have leads at UCLA and to have halftime deficit at St. Joe's by 3 and to be competitive with LaSalle and Quinnipiac, and then to look at what Cornell has been able to do in our non-conference. So, we really understood that we were playing a tough schedule, and if we could keep our guys motivated and understand that the things that we were doing would translate into conference play, we felt really good about it. Now that's harder; it's easier said than done. But I think that the players in the locker room really understood the value in learning how to win, despite the outcomes not being great. So when we got into a close game at Army and we were able to pull it away, I think the confidence level went sky high, and the locker room started to believe not only in themselves but also in each other, and that translated to a road victory at Boston and then another one at Colgate. And from there, we've just been gaining more and more confidence and trying to stay the course.
Yeah, and when we last spoke after the Army game, we talked a lot about Mark Butler, and he's just gotten even better since then. He's been in double digits 5 straight games. How important has his emergence been to keeping this team unbeaten?
Yeah, extremely. When we had the holiday break, we came back and our first practice, I kind of looked at him and said, "You're a sophomore now," and we needed him to play that way. With our lead ball handlers and him and Luka Savicevic, Mark has really taken over and he's really calmed our team down in key moments. He handles the ball extremely well. He sees the floor great. He's obviously a pass first point guard. But the way the teams have played him, he's been able to capitalize on scoring in the paint and around the basket. And then to have the combo punch off the bench with Luca, who stretches the defense a little bit more. His 3-point shooting is really great. He plays a more European free flowing style of pick and roll offense. It's been a really good combination at the point guard position. And without those two guys, I don't know if we've been having as much success as we are now.
Yeah, it seems like whenever you guys have needed a big shot, you've been able to get it in Patriot League play, whether it's Eric Sonberg or Ryan Pettit. How important has it been to just stay composed down the stretch and have guys that you can trust to get the ball to?
Yeah, I think you said it. Every game presents different opportunities and matchups are different and styles of play are different. And if you go down our roster, especially within conference play, you can see in key moments like Justin Vanderbond had a really big game at Boston. Kyle Jenkins was great just the other night at Loyola. His shot making. Devin Hines has had a bunch of really good games, and scoring the basketball for us has been critical. Eric, if you look at his 3-point production, it's kind of low for what his capability is, but he was great in the Loyola game as well, making a ton of shots. Ryan Pettit's energy off the bench. I mean, Josh Weiss and Chris Rubio give us a lot. Even Luke Rasmussen and his ability to defend the perimeter. Andrew Phillips in a couple spots has gotten in. So like you can literally go down our entire roster and see some key moments for guys that stepped up big. And I think that's credit to the players recognizing that when it got into conference play, it's not necessarily who gets the credit as long as the team is successful. And these guys really believe that, and they're sharing, and they're having a lot of fun with each other and celebrating each other's success, which is a great thing for a coaching staff to have.
Your next game tomorrow at home against Boston, and it is the first opponent that you'll get a rematch of. And I know
Mhm.
that a lot of when you're 7-0 and you're going into a game against a team that you've already played, that team is obviously going to want revenge. They have the loss on their resume to you guys. And how do you adjust to seeing teams the second time? Because they're going to adjust to seeing you the second time.
Yeah, it's a great question. I think that from a coach's perspective, we're always scouting, right? So we're always trying to figure out and trying to anticipate what a team will try to do to limit some of the things that we're good at, and maybe try to put us in positions to do some things that we're not so good at. And on the flip side, we're looking to do that against Boston as well. I think to answer your question a little bit more directly, we're trying to make sure that we stay hungry and understand that in the Patriot League, like you can look at every single game for the most part, and there's always that 2 to 3 possessions in each half that really can determine the game. Now, you never know when that's going to come and where it's going to present itself. But as long as we have a team that understands the how urgent you have to be all the time and how critical every possession is, you put yourself in a position to be successful and have a chance to win. Our team has been doing that, so for us, it's just trying to promote that concept each and every day. Try to continue to get better in some of our deficiencies, but approach every single game as if we are the underdog and not necessarily we're the ones being chased.
You got 2 home games coming up, and then you got
Yep.
a bunch more after that. What is your pitch to the Lafayette students and the residents of the Easton area to get them out to the ball games?
Yeah, that's a good one there. It's been fun, and our team is having a lot of fun with each other. The spirit on our bench has been great. Kirby Sports Center usually gets a lot of fans naturally. The community of Easton, the Lafayette faculty and staff usually support us really big. We've had football teams, lacrosse teams over our interim and during the break come and support us, especially at that Bucknell game. And I think we've got a lot of momentum. So my pitch is come have fun, come be loud, come support. And every single fan in the building really helps us and gives us the energy that we need to be successful.
All right. Thank you so much, Coach, for joining us, and good luck for the rest of the season.
Thanks, Sam. Appreciate your coverage.
Of course. Season 4, episode 35 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Steelers. I am Sam Fetterman, wearing my Jaden Ledee jersey. That is Jonathan Linskin. That was my interview from earlier today with Lafayette head coach and perhaps later in the season, National Coach of the Year candidate Mike McGarvey, if this keeps up.
We'll put it this way. He's the runaway favorite for Coach of the Year in the Patriot League right now.
Yes. We're working on getting a bunch more coaches on the pod. I think that's something that we want to expand into this year, kind of legitimize what we're doing, honestly.
Yeah, it's always really fun to talk to coaches, especially ones that like are having surprising good years, guys that are on the come up. And like I obviously couldn't make it for the interview this morning, but one thing that I took note of listening to that is it's interesting to hear how seriously Coach McGarvey takes every single possession. Like you heard him talk about how there's a couple possessions each half that could decide a game, and you just never know when they're going to be. And I always love guys that coach like that, that will literally coach till the final whistle, no matter if it's close game, up 20, down 20, whatever the situation is.
Yeah, because I mean, Patriot League, that's a slow-paced league. There's not a ton of possessions. These teams are mostly not very good offensively. These games can be in the 50s and the 60s, and they don't get out of hand very often. So every possession matters in the Patriot League, maybe more so than most leagues in the country. Not like I don't want to make it sound like the Patriot League's a bad league.
No. I understand what you mean, and I also think that there's very clear evidence of that because Lafayette is 7-0 in the Patriot League this year, and 4 of those 7 wins have come by 5 points or less.
Yep. Anyway, the biggest story in college basketball tonight, Jonathan, is the impending return of one Ed Cooley to the Dunk tomorrow at 12:30.
Yes.
What's going to happen?
Feels very Chris Beard back to Texas Tech-esque. Just it's going to be hostile. It's going to be brutal. There's going to be some really kind of over-the-top chants. Providence is going to win the game. I don't think
And
there's any...
everything is going to be deserved, by the way. The Providence fans have the right to ridicule Ed Cooley for jumping ship to a conference rival. That's exactly how any fan base would feel in this situation. Yeah. Now, as long as they keep it, as long as they don't get attack anybody physically, throw anything, attack the like a wife or a kid, as long as they keep it just to Cooley and they keep it physically civil, he'll deserve it. Any fan base would react the same way. Yeah, I don't blame Ed Cooley for taking the Georgetown job, but he knew what was coming, and this is what's coming tomorrow, 12:30, Fox. It's the biggest game on the Big East calendar this year.
You took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, for Ed Cooley's career, it makes perfect sense why the move was made, even though they're having a good year. We talked about this the other night. But yeah, this is how any fan base would feel. This is how Texas Tech fans felt when Beard jumps ship to a conference rival. It's just part of the business sometimes. And I don't blame Ed Cooley one bit, but I mean, he should know what's coming tomorrow.
I don't want to say this feels different from the Beard situation, but this is different. This is the big freaking East. This is not the Big 12 where you have football. This is the marquee event of Providence College the entire year. Nothing. There will be no other event in 2024 in the state of Rhode Island that is as scrutinized and maybe until the election, that is as scrutinized and as focused and just as maybe even important to the culture of that state as this one, because this is the Big East. This is Providence College basketball, and Ed Cooley is a Providence native. He led Providence back to the Sweet 16, and he jumped ship. He's now coming back. This is going to be the most talked about event in the state of Rhode Island for a long time.
Where do you think you would rank Providence in a list of most hostile Big East fan bases?
Right now?
Generally. Obviously, we know tomorrow's going to be a ruckus crowd.
I would say UConn and Providence are a tier above everyone else.
That's what my answer would have been.
I think the Midwest guys are just too nice. Like, Xavier has great crowds, but, like, their fans are too nice. Creighton's the same way.
Mm-hmm.
St. John's, like, they don't get great crowds, and their fans are kind of douchey. They'll get there to hostile status. Seton Hall doesn't get great crowds, and there's not a ton of Seton Hall fans, I'm going to be honest with you. Nova, like, it's very wine and cheese. Same with Georgetown. So I'd say UConn and Providence are the two most hostile fan bases in that conference.
Yeah, I just wanted to hear your opinion on that because my one experience with Providence fans is at the Sweet 16 a couple years ago in Chicago, and obviously they were outnumbered. Like, they were playing Kansas. Kansas is a lot closer, but
also a lot bigger fan base.
Yeah, they seemed pretty into it, pretty kind of alive.
They know their stuff when it comes to basketball, generally. I think every Big East fan base knows their stuff when it comes to basketball, more so than any other conference, because this is what we live and die for in the Big East.
Big East fans, ball knowers.
Yeah, more so than any other conference, without a doubt, in my mind. It's the biggest story in the sport right now. Just, you cannot go a minute without seeing another tweet about the thing. And when he dropped the divine providence line in his Georgetown press conference, that was wild.
Yep.
The other big game this weekend, I think there's 3 other games that I really want to talk about this weekend. Dayton Richmond is one of them at the Robins Center. That's going to be another epic environment. You got Jordan King, Neil Quinn, that Richmond team against just a juggernaut of a Dayton team. That's the number 1 offense and number 1 defense in the A10 so far. They're 24th in KenPom. They've won 13 in a row. It's the nation's longest active winning streak. Can the Spiders snap that in front of a sold-out crowd?
Well, they definitely can. Not sure if they will. Richmond's really good defending the three-point line. So, naturally, Dayton has to turn into what I consider the second best player in the country to win them the game tomorrow, which they're probably okay doing. Dayton's actually been really good on the road this year. Got a 14-point win pretty much at Cincinnati. Every single road game they've played so far in the A10 has been a double-digit win. They won at SMU. Only road loss this season is at Northwestern, first Friday of the year, which, everyone seems to lose at Northwestern these days for whatever reason.
Not Chicago State.
Yeah, except for our beloved Cougars. But yeah, I think it's going to be a really good game. This is a main TV kind of game. Richmond's had a really good year. They have some really intriguing players like Jordan King. Neil Quinn's been great for them. But I think tomorrow Dayton truly shows who they are, and that's a top 15 team in the country.
I think that if Dayton goes out there, I think if Richmond wins this game, it's going to be really close. Dayton could just come out and punk Richmond. It's entirely possible. They're the better team physically. They're the better team offensively. They're the better team defensively so far in A10 play. They are an elite shooting team. They are an elite defensive team. At least they've played like it. Mm-hmm. They can create whatever shot they want. They can pound it to one of the 5 or so best players in college basketball in the low post. There's so many options for how Dayton can win. I just think if they come out there, they can win by 15. They can do that. and announce themselves to the country as we are legit. We are as legit as the unnamed team.
As someone who like really likes them, I like wouldn't be super mad if they dropped tomorrow's game, because for bracket purposes, I would like them to stay somewhat under the radar as we come closer to the NCAA tournament.
I don't really care if they're under the radar, on the radar. It'd be really cool to see them keep this winning streak alive and keep it going like unnamed teams did. But who knows?
Unnamed team.
Yeah.
We're pretending that certain team is like Voldemort at this point.
We can't mention them. We, a team that we talked about a lot this week. We did previews, we did recaps, and now we're doing another preview. Catamounts. Big game. Smithfield. Huge day in Rhode Island basketball tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
As the Bryant Bulldogs take on Vermont. And Bryant wants to play at a frantically fast pace. Vermont wants to play it super slow. It's a clash of styles. It should be so fun.
Yeah, Phil Martelli Jr. has done a really good job this year for Bryant. It's got him at undefeated in the league. And we'll see tomorrow if they're a serious threat. This is Vermont's second big road game in 3 days, pretty much. But I do think that the Catamounts will be able to slow the game down tomorrow and prove once again, for the second time this week, that they are still the team to beat in this league until further notice.
I'm not even sure they'll be able to slow it down, but I think they're just straight up better than Bryant. I think that they'll be able to they can score with Bryant even if the game is sped up, because their offense is just, I think, that much better.
Mm-hmm.
I think they can they can't really match physically. Bryant's really strange, but like Bryant's entire lineup is like 6'5" to 6'6", and I like Connor Withers. I think he does a lot of stuff for them, but like 6'5", 6'6", and then a 6'8" guy. It's a really fun rotation, but Vermont can space the floor. I know that Bryant can switch everything, but they'll be spread out a lot and they won't be able to switch as well. I think Vermont can exploit that. I think they're still one of the best coached teams in college basketball under John Becker. And I just don't think Phil Martelli Jr. is going to be ready for this challenge. Nothing against him, but it's going to be really.
Yeah, this feels like a game that, like, if you don't pick Vermont to win and don't trust John Becker in a spot like this, like, you'll come back to regret it.
Yeah.
What next?
The next undefeated versus undefeated game. Man, it's another one in the Northeast. It's Princeton at Cornell tomorrow. I really should see how much an Uber costs to get to Cornell. Because let's see.
How far are you from there?
Let's see.
While you're looking that up, Princeton is 7-1 road games this year. Only loss coming at St. Joe's. Princeton is one of the few teams in college basketball that, like, if they go on the road, I don't get this, like, icky feeling with them. They've had a week off. They just feel above the rest in the Ivy League right now. Did you find that Uber price?
No, I'm still looking. Keep talking.
But yeah, we'll go over some of Princeton's road games this year. They won at Hofstra, at Duquesne, at Monmouth, at Old Dominion. Obviously, Monmouth and Old Dominion not even close to Princeton's level, at Bucknell, who's not really at that level either. They also took care of Drexel, who's had a great year in the CAA. Won at Delaware, who's a solid team. And then tomorrow they will be playing their second road conference game of the year. Cornell has had a good year. They're a team that likes to play really fast. It's a really good offensive team. They've had gotten great years out of Chris Mannon, Guy Ragland.
85.
Oh, geez, that's expensive. And then you have to get back too, right?
Yes, that's 170. I'll text somebody I wish I had a car. If I had my car, everything would be so much easier. I would just drive there.
Yeah,
Well,
unfortunately.
I'd probably be in Buffalo tonight anyway.
Unfortunately for me, the closest the closest school for college basketball for me outside of Mizzou is Lindenwood, I believe, which is an hour 40 from here. So
Cornell's like an hour.
no real point for me in going to drive an hour
Colgate's
40 to
also
watch
like
an
an
OVC
hour.
game. If I was in your spot, I do have a car, so I would definitely be at that game tomorrow.
Yeah. I like both these teams. I think Cornell, though, when they get down, they get down in a hurry, and it's kind of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
I like what Princeton's able to do to you. They can spread you out. They can attack mismatches. They're the best defense in the conference. They are the best shooting team in the conference. They're just straight up.
When Cornell, I've watched Cornell a fair bit this year. When they are losing games and when they are like not playing well, like it's because they're taking really bad shots. Like they're sixth in average possession length on offense in all of college basketball,
and that's not a good thing in this.
And I do think they're probably due for a bit of regression because, I mean, Marathon to March talks about this stat all the time. They're the number one free throw defense in the country. It's not sustainable, Sam.
That's what Indiana's good at.
Yeah.
Are they still good at it?
Marathon to March avidly talks about free throw defense.
If you came to hear about free throw defense, you did not come to the right place.
You stole it right out of my freaking mouth.
Indiana, by the way, is now 288th in free throw defense. They're not even good at that anymore.
Hits like a truck sometimes.
Regardless, the Ivy League is honestly not as good of a free throw shooting conference as you would think it is.
They are. Can we check this out? Hold on. Oh, it doesn't have like... Oh, wait, here.
It's 8th, but I would have thought it was lower just based on watching Ivy League games. Sorry, no, really? It's the Patriot League is dead last in free throw percentage. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Trivia time.
Okay.
What league is number one in free throw percentage?
Sam, the number one free throw shooting league in the country this year. It's the WCC.
Wrong. The WCC is 16th. The number one free throw shooting league in the country is the Big East.
Well, I had a 1 in 30 chance. The Big East felt too obvious to me.
What is the fastest league in the country?
The fastest league in the country is the SEC.
The SEC is actually the 4th fastest. The fastest league in the country is the America East.
Oh. The SEC, I had some actual real logic behind that. The WCC had absolutely no logic whatsoever.
What is the best three-point shooting league in the country?
Best three-point shooting league in the country is the Ivy League.
It is the A-Sun.
Mm.
What league has the best home court advantage in conference play, and what league has the worst home court advantage in conference play?
I can already tell you the best home court advantage in the country in college basketball is the Big Ten.
It's the Conference USA.
Really? Okay, so before I get to the second part of that question, my friend is doing an experiment this year where he bets the money line on every Big Ten home game except for like Purdue home games where they're like a minus 2,000 favorite. He didn't bet the Northwestern Purdue game, which was a plus like 220 money line. He's up 11 units so far this year.
Wow.
So I had some real logic there. I think how far up is the Big Ten in that?
Third.
Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you want to make some money? Bet on Big Ten home teams. It's my
This
advice.
is not gambling advice.
Yeah, this is not gambling advice. To steal Peter Apple's slogan.
The worst league in terms of home court advantage is the America East.
Huh.
It makes sense. It's the best 3-point shooting league. Sorry, it's the worst 3-point shooting league. It's the fastest league, which probably makes for a ton of variance.
I would feel like the worst home court advantage is by conference would correlate with like the best defensive conferences.
Well, that is the number 26 efficiency conference in the league.
So my logic is wrong.
Anyway, Cal over Stanford. Came back in that one. Keontae Kennedy, one of 6 Golden Bears in double figures tonight. They have Cannon Carlisle 5 of 15 from the field.
Did I
Do you have
ask you
eyes on that one at all?
No, I didn't have eyes on any games tonight. The notable results to me were Niagara. Saw you tweeting about that one.
Court Storm.
I saw you tweeting about Siena too.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to talk about the MAC on this show very much.
Okay.
Because that's kind of like we kind of do our MAC spaces for that.
Wisconsin over Michigan State by 15. Like Wisconsin winning that game isn't like super notable on the surface, but the fact that they won it by 15 against the Michigan State team
and the fact that Michigan State never led. I was watching that whole game. Wisconsin just controlled it from start to finish.
Yeah, I really thought Michigan State was starting to turn a corner, and the other part of that is like these teams played already. So like I thought Michigan State would for sure like be able to adjust and at least play them close the second time around.
Is AJ Storr all Big Ten first team?
And then St. Joe's is just like the most confusing team on planet Earth.
Is AJ Storr all Big Ten first team?
All right, let's walk through this. Zach Edey, obviously, I would give...
Bowie.
I would give Bowie a first-team nomination. I would give
Young.
Jameer Young, Tyson Walker, and probably Storr. Yeah, that would probably...
Maybe Braden Smith.
Yeah, I like... The interesting one is, would you give Terrence Shannon a first-team nomination?
Not right now. Not right now.
Is that due to missing 6 games?
Yes.
Okay.
Rink Mast.
Would you give him it over Casey?
Yeah.
I think I had Casey as a second teamer preseason.
I think I would give it to Rink over Casey right now.
Mm-hmm.
I just think like he does more for them.
Yeah, I mean he had 34 the other night. Ohio State's gonna have a guy just because like Thornton's numbers are just too good.
Yeah, maybe not on the first team, but
no. There's to make a first team, there has to be like some sort of team success, or your numbers just have to be ridiculous.
Or you can just be like Boo Buie and be the greatest clutch time player in the history of this conference.
Yeah,
Boo Buie and like Iota Sumu need to be like they. I need that 1-on-1.
I feel like Iowa would just rip him to shreds.
No. The point is that like neither of them would miss.
Yeah. It does not feel like Bowie misses very much in the final like 5 minutes of games.
Bowie doesn't miss when you get him one-on-one.
Who would be your defensive player of the year in the Big Ten right now? Would it also be Edey?
I was about to say, I think it's Zach Edey.
Without like looking at any numbers whatsoever, like pure vibes, like it's either Edey or Lance Jones.
Yeah. Who would you give defensive player of the year to in the Big East?
I don't care that he missed a month. I'd give it to Donovan Clingan.
I think it's either Klingon or Devin Carter.
Yeah, like it
my take is that Devin Carter has been the Big East player of the year so far. Him or Kadari Richmond.
my take. Well, conference only, it's probably one of those two. But to me, Tristan Newton's been the best player in the conference this year.
Oh yeah, no doubt, but not during conference play when he's shooting 25% from three.
Correct.
Anything else?
I know the game's in Ames tomorrow, but I have a feeling Iowa State might just like come out and show that they're just better than Kansas is.
Interesting.
Kansas has been playing better since the disaster at West Virginia a week ago.
Yeah, I mean they have they got a really strong performance from our boy Johnny Furphy the other night. It was all anyone ever talked about.
I say they were playing better. They played one game.
Yeah, and they played well against Cincinnati. Jonathan, you want to take us out?
Yeah, let's do it.
By the way, wait. Tomorrow night, big Saturday show, working on getting guests. Sunday night, Jordan Majewski is joining us. Really excited for that one. Working on getting another fun coach on the show. For Monday night, we're working on guests for after that. Jonathan, take us home.
If you came to hear about Tyler Self's job and where he's employed, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about who the best free throw defense teams in the country are, you sometimes came to the right place. And if you came to hear about Caleb Grill's life and what is going on with the man that is now at Mizzou, you came to the right place. This is Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers, Season 4, Episode 35. We will see you tomorrow night.